Ma'am, it says here you were born 1908. That would make you 45 years old?
That's right.
Story begins in modern times. The main character, Adaline Bowman at birth, is now known as Jennifer Larson. On the eve of the new year, she visits a person who specializes in making fake documents to once again change her name and age. The forger doesn't ask the client any unnecessary questions. He's only curious why the girl asked to indicate a 29-year-old age when she doesn't look older than 27. In response, our heroine thanks him for the work and hands over the money. Before leaving, she addresses the guy by the name she read on a baseball ball in his room and advises him to quit his illegal activities as soon as possible.
Don't get sloppy. It's the little things that trip you up.
After this meeting, Adaline returns home. The girl is lonely. All her free time is devoted to her beloved dog. We see that there are many antique items in her apartment. A drawing of a young man hangs on the wall, and an old wedding photo stands on the bedside table, where the bride looks very similar to our heroine. After feeding her pet, the girl hurries to work. On the street, she catches a taxi and explains to the driver how he should drive to avoid traffic jams. From this dialogue, it becomes clear that Adaline knows her city very well. The taxi driver brings the girl to the central library, where she works. Here, Adaline is involved in sorting out the city's archival footage. During this process, she notices a film from 1906 that contains all the major city events of those years. The girl decides to watch it, and while watching, she begins to remember her previous life. Our heroine was born on January 1st, 1908, in an ordinary maternity hospital in San Francisco. When she turned 21, she, along with her mother, came to see the construction of the Golden Gate Bridge, where she met her future husband. 87 days later, the couple got married, and 3 years later, they had a daughter. In 1937, there was a tragic accident at the construction site, resulting in the death of 10 workers, including Adaline's husband. 10 months later, the girl was driving to her parents' house along a country road when something incredible, even magical, happened. It snowed in California. Due to poor visibility, Adaline lost control and veered off the road at high speed. In the cold water, Adaline's body experienced hypoxic shock. Her heart stopped beating and her breathing ceased. A few minutes later, lightning struck the car, producing a triple effect on the girl's body. Firstly, the shock acted as a defibrillator for her heart. Secondly, it brought the girl out of her panic state and restored her breathing. And thirdly, according to a law that is yet to be discovered, Adaline Bowman's body became immune to the passage of time. From that moment on, the girl would not age a day further. Years passed. Initially, our heroine told others that her appearance depended largely on a healthy diet, exercise, and good genetics. But the situation became complicated when law-abiding Adaline accidentally broke a traffic rule. An inspector confiscated her driver's license and asked her to appear at the station soon with her birth certificate. After this incident, Adaline moved to the city center and got a job as a secretary at a medical school. Here, she tried to find a scientific explanation for her unusual condition. After a year of continuous search, the girl accepted the fact of her uniqueness and stopped her research. One evening, FBI agents stopped her and forcibly placed her in a police car.
I'm just going to run a few tests on you.
Upon arrival at the airport, Adaline was left unattended in the car. She managed to escape through the trunk unnoticed. To protect herself and her daughter, she had to leave the city. The girl decided to change her place of residence, name, documents, and appearance every 10 years and never reveal her secret to anyone under any circumstances. Adaline successfully stuck to her plan for the next 60 years, up until this moment. The action of the film is set in modern times. In a few hours, the new year will begin, and our heroine will celebrate her 107th birthday. Due to her situation, Adaline rarely makes new acquaintances. Currently, she only has one blind friend with whom she agreed to spend this festive evening.
Oh, you just want to come out with me tonight, don't you? Sorry, buddy, it's a girls' night.
In the restaurant lobby, Adaline notices photos from past years. She has been here before. Despite feeling nostalgic, she enters the hall where she applauds her friend's performance. The women sit at a separate table and share their New Year's wishes. At that moment, a young man approaches them, wanting to get to know the attractive Adaline. This surprises her friend because she has known our heroine for quite some time. She herself is around 50 years old, which means Adaline should be of a similar age. In the restaurant, Adaline catches the eye of the unknown young man. They immediately like each other, but Adaline cannot afford new romantic relationships. Another 10-year cycle is coming to an end, and soon she will have to move again. Feeling even more upset, the girl decides to leave the party. As a farewell, she kisses her friend, indicating that this might be their last meeting. In the elevator, the pleasant stranger joins Adaline. He escorts her to the exit and unsuccessfully tries to arrange another meeting with her. Upon reaching the street, the guy also approaches a taxi to eavesdrop on the address Adaline will give the driver. However, anticipating this situation, Adaline asks the driver to simply drive ahead. The next day, our heroine meets her aging daughter at a cafe.
Happy birthday, Mama. Thank you, darling.
At the table, the relatives discuss plans for the future. The daughter is already over 80, and she may soon need constant care. Adaline, understanding this, has purposely acquired a country house. She wants to spend the next 10 years there with her child. However, her daughter doesn't want to be a burden to her young mother. She mentions that she has already found a wonderful retirement community where she will be comfortable, and her mother can visit her whenever she wants. Later at work, Adaline learns from a colleague that a local benefactor has decided to donate a large number of rare books to their library. The benefactor turns out to be Ellis Jones, the persistent guy from the New Year's party. Ellis says he is willing to donate his books to the library on the condition that Adaline goes on a date with him. Adaline has no choice but to agree to this offer. In the next scene, the couple walks through the city catacombs, and the guy tells Adaline about himself and what he does. When Ellis asks the girl to share something about herself, she quickly changes the subject and says it's time for her to leave. On the street, Adaline tells the guy about her upcoming move. In response, Ellis suggests making a small bet. He will now tell his best joke, and if Adaline laughs, they'll have another date. But if not, he will stop pursuing her and leave her alone.
He picks up a bat with his teeth. Goom! Goom! Yes! The lady has been conquered!
So they both agrees to have a dinner together at the Ellis home. Adaline keeps her promise and arrives at his place in the evening. We see that the couple is happy about this meeting. Ellis manages to create a cozy atmosphere, and the evening goes well overall. Later, sitting on the couch, the couple can't contain their feelings. They start kissing and spend the night together. For the first time in ages, Adaline feels truly happy. After preparing breakfast, she goes to work. On the way, the taxi stops at a familiar place. Long ago, in this park, a young man was going to propose to her. However, when she saw the ring, she just drove past. This memory again brings sadness to Adaline. At that moment, she decides to break up with Ellis before their relationship goes too far. From that day on, Adaline stops answering the guy's calls and doesn't show up at work.
Jenny!
This isn't going to work. I'm moving.
Later, our heroine helps her daughter prepare for moving to a retirement community. During the preparations, they have a heartfelt conversation where Adaline confesses that she is tired of constantly running and deceiving good people. She just wants to be like everyone else, to finally face old age with her loved one. Her daughter wishes only good things for Mother. She asks her to stop running and try to open up to her loved one. After all, everyone who could know something about her has long since passed away. After this conversation, Adaline decides to invite Ellis on a date. Now she brings the guy to an unusual place, and in such a romantic atmosphere, the couple reconcile. On the weekend, they go together to the suburbs to visit Ellis's parents and congratulate them on their 40th wedding anniversary. On the way, They also pick up the Ellis's sister and arrive at the parental home together.
So nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
Adaline.
Jenny, actually.
Upon seeing them, the father freezes in place, then approaches our heroine and says that she looks very much like his long-lost good acquaintance, Adaline Bowman. The girl has to lie that this is her mother. When asked how she is doing now, the girl replies that her mother has already passed away. This news saddens the father. He tells his family that Adaline was an incredible person. Ellis supports the conversation, saying that the daughter inherited this from her. Afterward, the group disperses to their respective rooms. Alone, father begins to reminisce about his past life, the period when he first met Adaline. It happened in the late 60s. The young man helped the girl start her car, and they spent the next 5 weeks together. Later, in a conversation with the girl, William confesses that he loved her mother very much and even planned to propose to her. But on that day, she didn't show up for the date and just disappeared.
William, she loved you too.
The next day, while preparing for a celebratory dinner, William notices a familiar scar on the girl's arm. Adaline had the same one. She got injured when they were walking together in the forest. After that, the man finds an old joint photo where the girl's hand is bandaged. William realizes that it's not a coincidence. He catches up with the girl and asks her to tell him everything. Adaline, for the first time in a long time, tells the whole truth. She explains that she couldn't reveal her secret to anyone because they would have experimented on her. So many years ago, when she saw the ring, she had to leave.
I can't imagine how much it hurt.
You think I can?
William asks her not to run away anymore and not to break his son's heart, but the girl doesn't listen to him. When she enters the house, she immediately starts packing her things and hurries to leave without explaining anything to Ellis. Waking up, the guy finds a farewell note. He tries to find out what's going on from his father, but William doesn't reveal Adaline's secret. He only explains that the girl couldn't act otherwise. Ellis says that he just can't imagine his life without her. Hearing this, the father throws the car keys to his son, and he finally sets off after his beloved. On the way, girl reminisces about all her past escapes. After careful consideration, she makes the decision to turn back. At the moment of turning, a truck crashes into her car. The girl flies off the road, and the truck driver flees the scene. Today, just like 78 years ago, it's snowing in California. Adaline Bowman's body temperature drops to 30 degrees. Her breathing stops, and her heart stops beating. By all indications, the girl was dead. A couple of minutes later, paramedics arrive at the scene of the accident. They pass 750 volts of electricity through Adaline's body, which brings her back to life. At the hospital, the girl tells Ellis everything. Soon, an alarmed daughter also appears in the ward.
What happened? I'm fine, okay? But hey, he knows.
A year has passed. Ellis and Adaline started living together. Today they are planning to attend a New Year's Eve party, so they ask daughter to take care of the dog. Approaching the mirror, Adaline notices her first gray hair and can't hold back tears.
Adaline, you okay?
Perfect.
And so ends this incredible story. Leave your opinion about the movie below in the comments.